to control pain management. Probably the best business on the planet. People will spend their last dollar on getting rid of their pain, rather than food, rather than sex even, rather than anything. So, you know, it's been tied up. The only medication you're allowed to use is through a pharmaceutical company. It's just such a business scam. That's how it looks to me. In fact, you know, 100 years ago, and for all our ancestors, the three best painkillers on the planet are the opium poppy. They were in all the medicines earlier, last century, before pharmaceuticals took over. Every medicine really had one or more of the opium poppy, the coca plant and the cannabis plant. They're the three best painkillers on the planet in nature that are easy to grow and easy to access. They're all illegal. The Taliban's basically growing 90% of the heroin crop now. It's just so stupid, it's hard to believe that people won't look at it. The politicians really are the ones. The other thing I reckon it's worth you guys doing, and don't do it alone, do it with a few of your mates, you ring up your local MP and you make an appointment. They have to see you really. You make an appointment, you go along with a few mates, and you tell them what it's like, how it affects you being a criminal. You know, your medicine or your preferred way of relaxing, being outlawed has had a huge effect on your life. Talk to them about it, because I think politicians are so out of touch with street life and how it goes. And I get this standard answer from them, oh, look, there's cautioning now, you don't go to jail for smoking weed. Yeah, but everyone can't grow their own weed. Nimbin, we've got this huge culture of kids dealing weed now. They're all getting criminal records one by one. They don't go to jail. They'll never get a job just about, because it's so hard once you've got caught up in that scene. Anyway, I love them. I reckon they've got real balls, but it's very hard to get out of that stream once you get into it. You got a record, you've been to jail. It's really criminal university. They come back much smarter, get someone else to deal for them. Anyway, I love that you're doing this in Melbourne. I really appreciate all the people who got it together. Where's Tash? Alcohol had made a mess of her last night. The big dramas we see in Nimbin, which has got a lot of pot smokers, the black market bankrolls a lot of other people's habits though. Alcoholics, gamblers, heroin addicts, whatever, meth addicts, whatever, pot's the trade for it. So, you know, if we can get anything happening like has happened in America, a medical cannabis model, I think it'd be terrific. But I do like what Matt says. Next year, they've got a vote happening to re-legalise and treat pot really like wine. And I don't mind the analogy at all. It's like you've got to give people the message in a language they can understand. And everyone knows, you know, nowadays people are knowing alcohol causes a lot more trouble than weed. It's regulated, it's got quality control, it's taxed. We're going to have to accept that's what they're going to want to do with weed, I think. But if we can get to grow our own in the backyard and be left alone, things will change really quickly. What has happened in America, I see, is with medical cannabis happening, the general public found out it was no big drama. In fact, you know, some auntie who was dying, you know, ate a cookie, or someone got her some tincture and they all realised, shit, this is a marvellous herb. So I don't know if you know, you probably all know, the latest Gallup poll in America, for the first time, has more than 50% wanting to legalise weed, regulate it, have quality control, tax it, treat it like anything else. That's a big step to get to. Why we're so slow to pick the ball up in Australia, I'm not sure. John Howard and his psychosis theory did a lot of damage. And I personally reckon, yeah, pot isn't for everyone. It's like a manure for your imagination, and some people don't need it, you know. Some people can't come back to earth. I don't know exactly how it works, but it's a chicken and egg thing for some people with schizophrenia or bipolar or mental health issues, which half the planet should have mental health issues. What's going on, I would have thought. Pot works. It traditionally was a fantastic thing for people with mental health problems. So my main argument there has been always to politicians, look, making it a criminal issue doubles all the problems everywhere. If you're going to smoke in a paranoid state, if you're afraid, it's absolutely the wrong way to go about it. I'm also a bit strong on not smoking with tobacco. All you old hippies here will be mulling up with spin, but I just think for young people, when you're starting out, it's a bad habit to get into. It's very, very easy to start, and it's not a problem smoking straight. And it's a bit peculiar to Australia. In America, in Canada, in New Zealand, a lot of people smoke straight, and you know, you put spin in it and they just think it's terrible. Grow your own tobacco if you're going to, I think, because the chemicals are a nightmare, and I suspect that's the biggest drama. Unquestionably, stress is the big thing everyone loves weed for, from what I can see though, and I think stress is the main form of causing cancer these days. Chemicals, stress, and I personally am convinced that pot has anti-cancer properties. We've got a fella called Tony Mulloway who's been giving tincture to people from our place. He insists on giving it to people. He's got so popular he only takes people who have got cancer now. There's absolutely no doubt it can hold cancer growth, if not heal it. And it's extraordinary that the mainstream medical profession refuses to look at it. They've got a real problem with smoking. And Alex Wodak tells me all the time, they're never going to allow you to smoke anything, Michael, blah, blah, blah. Well, we can just bypass that totally, I think, with vaporizers, with cookies, with tincture. If you see a dispensary in America now, they've got pot in everything. In ice creams, in Chupa Chups, what are they called? In lollies, you can put it in anything. Under prohibition, where we've got to hide it away all the time, it's just, it stuffs it up so much. Stuffs up people's health, stuffs up the way they use it. We will get through it though, I've got no doubt it's going to change. The Greens, we did have an appointment with the Greens. We just went up and saw Obama. We had an appointment with the Greens, but they hadn't figured Parliament House was closed. So we had to let that go. We're going to have a phone conference with them next week though. They need hassling. I think your Green guy in Victoria has, so long people waited for a Green senator. They've just been bombarded, do this, do this, do this. So you've actually got to get in there and lobby to get them to bring it to the top of the pile. Medical cannabis is an issue the Greens should be totally game for. I find they're pretty chicken on it. But it needs you guys make appointments with them, talk to them, hassle them. They will listen. They're so busy, I find politicians, and they're out of touch. They're out of touch with what happens on the street. When they had that drug summit in Sydney we went to, there were 4 days of talking, and one day all the pollies got in buses and they went out to rehab centres, they went out to different scenes, they met people who were illegal drug users. It had more impact than all the talk in the world. When you go and see a politician, you say, hey, I'm a daily pot smoker, I've got a job, I do this, I do that. If you can do it, it changes them. They got this picture now that if you smoke pot you're going to turn into a nutter or whatever. It's bullshit. And a lot of people are smoking, I think, quietly, won't come out with it. It does remind me of the gay movement a bit. Remember when the gays first came out? They lobbied hard, they got it happening, they've got it moving. Pot is, it's even more paranoid because you do get that tag, you lose your job. So I do recommend people don't risk your job, don't risk unnecessarily, but there are lots of things you can do without saying too much. Go and see politicians. Join the hemp party if you can. Form a hemp embassy. Do stuff together. The Facebook connection is obviously huge. And we have our 20th Mardi Gras next year, first weekend in May. And the council's been hassling us, making more and more regulations and rules. So we're not going to put in a DA this year. We want it to be a real protest. So we're marching the other way. We'll end up at the cop shop. I'd love any of you to come. Mardi Gras is a great weekend. It's a great gathering of the cannabis culture people and international. One of the best things of it, I think, is everyone meeting each other. But we got a bit of entertainment. There's always good music. We've got the Hemp Olympics, joint rolling competitions, growers, iron person events. You won't beat any of the Nimbin locals, I'll bet you. But I do recommend and invite all of you to come up there